Right, today I'm going to show you the different types of pellets that I use when I'm fishing a method feeder for F1s. Using just the bag and pellets on their own, which I normally use, the 2 mils, is great when I'm catching lots of fish and they break down quickly. But on the days when it's a little bit more difficult and I don't want to be putting too much bait into my peg, then by adding fishery pellets, which are coppens in this case, I can get my pellets to break down at whatever rate I want. After that, I want to show you the different methods that I employ to keep fish coming all through the session. Right, well, these pellets, the first ones, these are the coppens pellets, the fishery pellets here at Mania. They produce a very, very sticky micro pellet that binds really, really well. Unfortunately, it takes a long time to break down when used on their own on a method. My next batch are my bag and pellets. These are my normal 2 mil bag and course pellets. Yes, these have the opposite effect. When these are moulded into a ball on your method, they break down very, very quickly. They do stay nice as individual pellets though. So what I've found, if I'm getting plenty of bites, these are great on their own. If I'm catching as soon as the feeder's empty in the peg. On these days when it's a little bit colder and I'm catching a little bit slower, I don't want to be putting a big quantity of feed into my peg. So by mixing the pellets, I can create a slower breakdown rate on my method feeder, so I'm not having to cast too often and I'm putting a smaller amount of bait into my peg. My hook bait samples, when I'm fishing in the method feeder, I like to keep things very, very simple. I either go with a nice blending in hook bait, which in this case is an oiled 6 mil pellet. The reason I've oiled them is because they don't break down and I might get multiple fish on the same hook bait. My second option is a white 6 mil bag and tuffet. These work as a very good standout hook bait, and often the bait I switch to once I've caught a few fish and the peg's quietened down a little bit. The second method I want to talk about, after I've finished fishing the method feeder and my peg's really built up with a lot of fish in, I like to switch to a cage feeder. This allows me to be in and out a lot quicker than I am with a method. It also leaves my bait free for a fish to eat as soon as it's in the peg. By chucking the cage feeder in, I'm only introducing a very small amount of bait and creating a greater level of competition for that small amount of bait I'm putting into my peg. When I do swap to the cage feeder, what I'm after is to catch fish really, really quickly. To do this, it's very important that I add quite a bit of weight onto my feeders. Not so much to get there, it's about I need to tighten up to my feeder as quickly as possible and also use the weight as the feeder for the fish to hook itself. When I'm fishing with both of these methods, they both work in a bolt rig principle. To do that, I need to make sure I have a nice, strong, reliable hook. I find that the CS27s fit the bill perfectly. They're a nice narrow gauge, but with a good strong wire for when I'm hooking these fish.